Hello, Screen Junkies. I'm Dan Murrell from Movie Fights and Summer Movie Report on ScreenJunkies Plus, and this is my spoiler review of Captain America: Civil War. Now, this is the first one of these that we've done on Screen Junkies, and it's because so many people want to talk about this movie. What we liked, what we didn't like, we're going to break it down right here. Now, just a reminder, this is a spoiler review of the movie. If you're interested in hearing what I thought about the movie without any spoilers, you can check my spoiler-free review right now on ScreenJunkies.com. So, final warning, this will be a spoiler review of the movie as we break down Captain America: Civil War. Now, I think the first thing that you have to do when you're breaking down Captain America: Civil War is focus on the two performances that are at the heart of this movie. Chris Evans as Captain America and Robert Downey Jr. as Tony Stark / Iron Man. I think they both crush it in this movie.
He's my friend. So was I.
You can't really tear two characters apart that you haven't seen together. And over the course of 12 movies, we've seen Iron Man and Captain America build their bonds, build their friendship, build their characters together. So to see these two friends going head to head, and it is a brutal fight at times, is really affecting because we have that depth of character history to build on. Now, the one big reveal moment that a lot of people have talked about is the reveal that not only did the Winter Soldier kill Tony Stark's parents, but that Captain America knew about it all along. I've talked to a lot of people who said that that seemed like it came out of nowhere, that Captain America knew about Tony Stark's parents, but that's actually not true. I went back and looked at the Winter Soldier again, and you see the moment in that movie when Cap finds out.
That's impossible. S.H.I.E.L.D. would have stopped you.
Accidents will happen.
Now, is this beat a little rushed in the movie? Yes, it is. But what makes it impactful is that you see the pain behind Tony Stark's eyes when it's revealed. And the reason that you buy that pain is because we've seen all the way going back even to Iron Man 2, what the effect of Tony Stark losing his parents has had on himself, has had on his character, has had on the man that he has become.
My greatest creation is you.
It is a real testament to how building storylines and plot lines over movies over several years doesn't have to be tedious. It doesn't have to feel cheap. It can actually pay off in unexpected ways later on down the road. Now, the other big element that everybody wants to know about in this movie is Spider-Man and Tom Holland's performance as Spider-Man. And I have to say, my favorite moment in the movie, and I think it says so much about the character of Spider-Man, is when he's sitting and talking with Tony Stark, and he says something to the effect of, when you have powers like mine and you don't do something, when something happens, it's your fault. That says more about Spider-Man, that says more about what drives Spider-Man than 5 origin stories possibly could. Superheroes are modern mythology. We all know their origin stories. We don't need to see them on screen. And with that one line, it's established that this Spider-Man has that same kind of pain in his past, he has that same kind of drive in his past, and he integrates into the group beautifully. I loved seeing him jumping into the big superhero fight in the middle of the movie, and I personally cannot wait to see him get his own movie. Maybe, finally, Spider-Man might be back on the right track in Marvel's hands. So let's talk about the 3 major new characters that were introduced in the movie. First of all, as we've discussed, Spider-Man. I liked him in the movie, but I feel like his introduction felt the tiniest bit forced. But that's to be expected because they had no other option. They literally could not put him in any other movies before this one. However, the character that I do think would have benefited being in another movie before Civil War is Zemo, played by Daniel Bruhl. We find out through action that his plan is completely driven by the death of his family in the Sokovia disaster, which is a great motivation. However, I think it would have been a lot more powerful if Zemo had been introduced in Age of Ultron. If the Russos maybe had had a little more interaction on Ultron, or maybe if they'd been able to plan out a little more ahead in Ultron instead of sending Thor on his jacuzzi side quest and put Zemo into the Sokovia scenes, it would have flowed a little bit better from Ultron to Civil War. Having said that, I thought Daniel Bruhl gave a fantastic performance. He was using psychology as a weapon, not brute strength. And I like that. I like that not every villain's plan is to unleash an army of something. We've seen too much of that in the Marvel movies. More than any other movie, Civil War is a deeply personal movie. It's about these characters' personal vendettas with each other, with their past, and how they battle each other and try to reconcile. It is at its heart about a very personal clash between friends, and I think that's what sets Civil War apart in the Marvel Cinematic Universe canon. All right, now I just want to do some quick hits on a bunch of stuff that I don't have time to go into in depth, but that I really enjoyed and liked about the movie. Number one was Black Panther, played by Chadwick Boseman. I am so excited for the Black Panther movie right now. And based on where they left Bucky, how awesome would a Black Panther Winter Soldier mercenary movie be set in Wakanda? That might not be where they're going, but that would be a really kick-ass movie. Secondly, Thor and the Hulk. I didn't miss them, I have to be honest, and I love the fact that they used that in the movie when Secretary of State Ross said, if the US military was missing a thermonuclear warhead, don't you think people would be upset about it? The fact that they didn't fold them into the story, I think worked for the story. They were able to address it satisfactorily, and I like the fact that they were not missed and that they're free to go do their own standalone adventures, all of which I'm sure we'll see in Thor Ragnarok. Thirdly, the Oscar winner girlfriend game of phone tag continues as Pepper Potts does not make an appearance in this movie. Well, I guess they couldn't afford Gwyneth Paltrow. I get it, but I also feel like Pepper deserved better. I hope that there are more chances for her to be folded back into the MCU. And finally, I'd be remiss if I didn't address the actual civil war that's happening right now. The war seemingly between Marvel fans and DC fans. Batman v Superman versus Civil War. In a perfect world, I don't think that these movies should be pitted against each other. I think that they should exist in a vacuum. But people do compare them, and they actually are shockingly similar movies. I did not enjoy Batman v Superman very much, and I like Civil War more. Why? Personally, I believe that the beats that didn't work in Batman v Superman work in Civil War because they've been cultivated over time. If Civil War had been the second MCU movie, I believe that it would have been a mess. It would have been overstuffed because we wouldn't have had any setup for any of this. The shorthand that we have with these characters over the past 8 years is one of the things that I think makes Civil War work. And the fact that you didn't have that shorthand in Batman v Superman is what I feel like makes some of that movie not work. But here's the bottom line. It's okay if you liked Batman v Superman and didn't like this movie. It's okay if you liked this movie and didn't like Batman v Superman. It's okay if you loved both movies. It's okay if you hated both movies. This is supposed to be fun. We're supposed to be having a good time. The fans of Volcano and the fans of Dante's Peak didn't dox each other and yell at each other on the internet because they disagreed. They just decided they liked one or both or neither of those movies. And that's what it should all be about. For the first time ever, movies are being made for comic book fans of all ages, of all tastes. And instead of letting our differences divide us, I think we should get together and celebrate this phenomenal time that we're living in. So, as I close out this review of Civil War, I'd just like to say, don't attack each other over differences in superheroes because you like one more than the other. These are supposed to be fun, and we're supposed to have fun at the movies. I had a lot of fun with Civil War. I hope you did too, but if you didn't, that's okay. Thank you so much for checking out my first review, and if you want to hear more from me, you can check out my new show, Summer Movie Report with Dan Murrell. I'm on every Monday live at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time on ScreenJunkies Plus. What did you think of Civil War? Do you agree with me? Do you disagree with me? Let us know in the comments below. Share, subscribe, check me out on Summer Movie Report, and please keep going to the movies. Hi, I'm Dan Murrell, host of Summer Movie Report with Dan Murrell on ScreenJunkies Plus, asking you to join me and my co-host Sasha Pearl-Raver every Monday morning at 11 a.m. Pacific Standard Time as we break down the summer box office, review the latest releases, and tell you what you should be watching all summer. So please join us right here each and every Monday, only on ScreenJunkies Plus.